It's good to see you all again. We get together every year, and you folks get to hear from Don and Chris and John and myself. And I make an assumption that you were hopeful that this dialogue would be a little different than it was in past years. We've come before you telling you tales of woe with regard to our state budget, obviously how it affects your towns, your education budgets, and frankly the way Connecticut can move forward. It has for quite some time. Regardless of what method we thought we would straighten it out, we were hopeful that with the dramatic changes made in the last session, that we would be able to come forward to you, in front of you this year and say things are different, that we have an opportunity to be proactive with regard to what Connecticut needs and not reactive to the economic conditions we find ourselves in the state. I mean, after all, again, whether you're for it or against it, we had the largest tax increase in the history of the state of Connecticut. We had dramatic announcements with regard to collective bargaining agreements with CBAC and employee concessions. And we were told that we would get control of our spending to put Connecticut on solid fiscal ground so that you folks who plan for your towns would have some assurances that things were stable, that you could plan and move forward. And unfortunately, that might not be the case, believe it or not. We hope for the best. We must prepare for the worst. We have heard from various sources, independent sources, non-political sources, sources that have no dog in a political fight, that things might not be as good as we're told they are. In the month of January, we were told by our own treasurer that our cash reserves is at the lowest point in recent memory. We were told by the Office of Fiscal Analysis and the Office of Policy and Management with regard to their consensus revenues that those historic tax rates that were set last year are not bringing in the revenue we thought they would bring in. We were told by Moody's that because of Connecticut's debt and unfunded pension liability, plus its over-reliance on revenue to balance the budget, that they had to downgrade our bond rating. We were told by the Office of Fiscal Analysis that actually we're looking at a deficit and not a surplus. We were also told by the Nonpartisan Office of Fiscal Analysis that the pension savings extracted from the CBAC deal that was to save over $5.7 billion or $4.7 billion over a 20-year period actually only saves $1.7 billion. We were told that the economic growth that this budget is predicated on, 5.7%, is unrealistic, and we would be lucky to attain half that. And what it means in short, folks, is we're not bringing in the money we thought we would bring in. We did not achieve the savings we thought we would save, and we did not control the spending we thought we would control. You put all those three things together, and it spells potential financial crisis yet again. It is our role as the legislature in this, the midterm session, to make sure that we prepare for the worst. We cannot just wish this away. We cannot just say, oh, it's all going to be okay, because I know every one of you have experienced that before when we come to you in late April or May when you're trying to get your own budgets in order and say we're not quite sure where we are yet. We're still unstable, we're still unsure. It wasn't supposed to be that way. And we have to prepare for the worst.